Welcome to San Francisco Weekly News TV and San Francisco News. My name is Diane Smith. Let's get started. We're talking about Proposition C in San Francisco. Proposition C. Well, Proposition C is a proposition that Big Tobacco is sponsored by its agents. Juul is scheming to hook another generation of kids. You could read that for yourself. That is true. Proposition C. Who wants Proposition C? I don't know if you can see. Can you see this? Yes. You see this? Who wants Proposition C? There's no one there but big money. And at the bottom, it says just Juul and R.J. Reynolds. So, who wants Proposition C? Just Juul and R.J. Reynolds. I would also state that when you see a commercial, an advertisement for a proposition, for any sort of legislative bill, Senate bill, you see commercials for any laws. If you see the commercial a lot all the time, morning, noon, and night, if whatever they're saying, you probably want to do the opposite. Why? Because if the perfect example, we're seeing we're seeing the vote yes on Proposition C. Don't ban, only regulate, etc., etc. Well, as of this recording, there have been over 15 deaths associated with vaping. The reason we must vote no on Proposition C is our children are not for sale. Big Tobacco is seeking to hook a whole new group of people, our kids. And our supervisor, Supervisor Shaman Walton of District 10, I say our supervisors because all of San Francisco supervisors represent not only their district but also the city as well. And he led the way for the effort and the movement for no on C. And he's pictured here with just a few of the parents who are saying that their children are not for sale. They said, don't sell our future. They're not for sale. So some of the people, first of all, let me go back. You've been hearing about the health-related illnesses caused by vaping. You've been hearing about the deaths caused from vaping, the lung disease, which is health-related, but lung disease is people are in the grave with lung disease kills. Tobacco kills. It is a very sad day when we see Juul partnered with R.J. Reynolds with a device not much bigger than this ink pen and showing adults now feeling that they can smoke in their homes. We just took cigarette smoking out of the homes and away from the children. So do we talk about smoking in the home because you have a little apparatus that's going to kill you, but it doesn't look like it? It looks harmless. Quite frankly, I was expecting another 10 or 15 years before we saw the dangers of vaping. That's why we say no on C, because of the dangers of vaping and the large tobacco companies. Excuse me, this is very emotional for me because my mother, my beloved mother, is in the grave, courtesy Big Tobacco. That addictive nicotine, she could not quit. There are a lot of people that can't quit. Now, how about children? So now, you would kill our children. Well, yeah, big money would. Let's look at some of the people. First of all, let's talk about Juul. Juul created the youth vaping epidemic. Juul helped create the youth e-cigarette epidemic with their slick marketing campaign aimed at our youth. Juul paid social influencers on social media, and kids paid attention. High school use of e-cigarettes soared almost 80% in 2018 alone. There's no question that the Juul product drove a lot of the e-cigarette youth use. For more than 4 decades, the National Institute on Drug Abuse has funded Monitoring the Future, a detailed statistical survey of the U.S. drug abuse trends. Last year, the 2018 MTF survey announced a shocking and unprecedented finding. Nicotine vaping among American teens grew last year at the fastest rate ever recorded for any addictive substance. The research and evidence is clear. Flavored tobacco products, including Juul, lure our kids with their sweet flavors and then addict them with heavy doses of nicotine. Don't be fooled. Vote no on C. Juul and R.J. Reynolds created the youth vaping epidemic. Let's talk about some facts on Proposition C, which, as we mentioned earlier, was led by the writing of Proposition C and the effort by the Honorable Supervisor Shamann Walton. Some of the facts about Proposition C. Now, please listen. So, because you're going to be bombarded with commercials saying, giving you all kinds of reasons why you should vote yes. Don't be fooled. Big Tobacco they are attempting to trick you again. The public has been tricked once. Now they want to trick the public with a little apparatus, as I mentioned, not larger, barely larger than this pen, to hook our children and also adults. So now they're going to get all the adults who can't smoke in the house, all the adults who stink like cigarette smoke, and these people are going to get these little Juuls, and then they're going to pollute their lungs at a rate that's is equivalent to 200 cigarettes a day. But people are being duped. They make the commercials look so attractive. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. So these are the facts about Proposition C. If you never hear them again, because we don't have money to advertise, when we talk about public good, we're hard pressed to get the word out, to educate the public that this is wrong, this is not good for us, we need to do something about it. Facts about Proposition C. This is wrong, it's not good for us, and we must vote no on C. Proposition C would weaken San Francisco limits on flavored tobacco products. Juul Big Tobacco targets kids with flavored tobacco products. Juul and R.J. Reynolds target kids to get kids hooked on tobacco and nicotine. Juul wrote Proposition C to protect their profits. Proposition C will make it easier, not harder, to sell e-cigarettes to kids in San Francisco. Proposition C is opposed by every major health organization in San Francisco. Proposition C is opposed by all health organizations. Don't be fooled. Vote no on Proposition C. San Francisco kids versus Big Tobacco. You know, this is my native city, so I know we can win. I know we can protect ourselves and our children and future generations. All we have to do is come together. We do it all the time, and we're going to do it again. San Francisco kids versus Big Tobacco is a coalition of parents, doctors. San Francisco Kids is a coalition of parents, doctors, health organizations, and community groups working to protect our children and youth from becoming addicted to candy-flavored tobacco products. This time, Juul and Big Tobacco have teamed up to mislead voters. Juul, the nation's largest e-cigarette company, is trying to deceive us San Francisco voters. Juul is bankrolling a grossly misleading Proposition C that will undo years of progress San Francisco has made on tobacco control. This misleading Big Tobacco initiative is on the November ballot. The November ballot, we vote November 4th, 2019. If you're like many people, you already have your absentee ballot or you're in the process of getting it. That way you can be certain that your voice or your vote is represented. Your voice is represented. This time, Juul is bankrolling, as I mentioned, a grossly misleading Proposition C that will undo years of progress, folks, that we San Franciscans have made on tobacco control. This misleading Big Tobacco initiative is on the November ballot, as I mentioned before. Juul and Big Tobacco are now synonymous. In other words, Juul and Big Tobacco are together. They're tight. They're one. Kind of like Lennar and 5 Point. Kind of, but not really. Because 5 Point is owned by Lennar. Now, actually, Juul is basically owned by R.J. Reynolds. Juul has $12.8 billion in backing from Philip Morris, the USA's parent company. Altria, as its largest shareholder, vote no on Juul's misleading Proposition C this November. Juul and Big Tobacco wrote their proposition to make it easier to sell e-cigarettes to kids. They're scheming to comprehensively authorize and regulate their own product sales and business conduct here in San Francisco. Now, I need to say that again. I need to repeat. Big Tobacco and Juul are scheming to comprehensively authorize and regulate their own product sales and business conduct here in San Francisco. Now, first of all, we have a business and professions code that regulates conduct. That is worse than a slippery slope. That's a fast decline. That's a slip. Proposition C not only repeals existing laws that protect kids, but it blocks our local public health authorities and elected officials from ever trying to hold Big Tobacco accountable in the future. Juul's Prop C would, pay attention, folks. I know you are, because I know that you want to know why exactly we're supposed to vote no on Proposition C, even though we're being bombarded in the media and being told we should vote yes on Proposition C. That is the game. That is the trick. Don't be fooled. This is what Juul's Proposition C would do. It would repeal current restrictions passed unanimously by our San Francisco Board of Supervisors requiring FDA approval to sell e-cigarettes in San Francisco. It would repeal e-cigarette restrictions in San Francisco's health code, including restrictions on the sale of candy-flavored e-cigarettes and other flavored tobacco products passed by voters in 2018. Do you remember in 2018? This is the same dog, but with big fleas. So now they're going to regulate everything. They're going to they would deny us the democratic process and repeal what San Franciscans voted for, which was the restriction on the sale of candy-flavored e-cigarettes and other flavored tobacco products. We voted for that again in 2018. And what we're seeing something very alarming here, folks. We're seeing the same laws that we vote against, the same bills that we vote against, or the same bills that we vote for. If big money doesn't like it, then what we see is they send us another bill. They don't enact what we voted for, but they send us another bill. And it's worded differently, but same thing. So we've got to be smart. We've got to pay attention so that we can protect ourselves and, most importantly, our children and our offspring and our future generations. Proposition C would redefine e-cigarettes as harmless sounding vapor products, deliberately clouding how courts might interpret prior laws to undermine their enforceability. What does that mean? If your child or you or one of your loved ones or anyone is harmed by the use of e-cigarettes and vaping, because the language would change under Proposition C, it wouldn't be called e-cigarettes. They would be called vapor products. So the courts one can sue under e-cigarettes because the law says that there should be regulated under harm that's done. But what they're trying to do is change the law so that our health department has no say-so. So they would repeal the restrictions in San Francisco's health code, including restrictions on the sale of candy-flavored e-cigarettes and other tobacco-flavored products. As I mentioned, we voted against that. We voted for that in 2018. They would redefine e-cigarettes, as I mentioned. So it wouldn't say e-cigarettes, it'd say vapor products. What they're going to do, folks, is make it very hard to be held accountable. They're going to make it very hard to be held accountable to the damage that e-cigarettes cause. That's vaping, but it's the e-cigarette. The Jewel proposal, Proposition C, would prevent the Board of Supervisors from amending the health code related to e-cigarettes in the future. Okay, not only would they repeal the laws that we voted for to protect ourselves, they would also say that there can be no amendment or changes in the future. That's why we say no on Proposition C, because we must. We're watching television, we're seeing these commercials. They're showing that one commercial, the husband comes inside. He doesn't have to smoke outside anymore. He comes inside with an e-cigarette. So he can sit in the house with his wife, smoke his e-cigarette, and die of lung cancer because e-cigarette is nicotine. Nicotine kills. Nicotine is addictive. Don't be fooled. Another commercial says, vote yes on C because don't ban anything. We need to regulate. That's not going to stop, leave it up. That's not going to stop youngsters. Voting no on C will stop youngsters from young people and adults from becoming future victims of cancer caused by the use of nicotine. We want to prevent that. Many of us, as I mentioned, I lost my mom. My mom was a very strong, educated woman. My mom was a doctor before she passed. She started out as an LVN. She accomplished anything she set her mind to. But she couldn't beat cigarettes. She couldn't beat nicotine. Now, if my mother couldn't beat it, do you think we're going to just, and many others, brilliant other people that are brilliant. My mother was brilliant. And if they couldn't fight nicotine, you think we're going to just sit around and let Juul and Big Tobacco take over San Francisco's health care when it comes to, it will take over health our health and safety. They're going to put their big tobacco will put their hands into our health laws. They would reverse what we have voted for. This is why we must vote no on C. We must vote no on C. Proposition C would weaken San Francisco limits on flavored tobaccos, on flavored tobacco products. Juul Big Tobacco targets kids with flavored tobacco products to get kids hooked on tobacco and nicotine. Juul wrote Proposition C to protect their profits. Proposition C will make it easier, not harder, to sell e-cigarettes to kids in San Francisco. Proposition C is opposed by every major health organization in San Francisco. Proposition C is opposed by every citizens organization that is concerned with common health, with the public health. Many young people were asked if, actually there was a group of young people asked, if we ban cigarettes, do you think that would help you cut down, or would you stop? Many of them said, yeah, I'd probably quit because it'd be too difficult then, or I'd have to get somebody to get them for me. This sort of thing. So there's no doubt. So we're going to end the show with I'm going to end with reading who wants you to vote no on Proposition C. Okay? And that's how we're going to end the show. Because this show is going to run for a while because this is very, very important. Our lives, many lives depend on it. Here's who wants you to vote no on Proposition C. And as I mentioned, I'm just going to read the names. I'm going to start with the names. They're too numerous to mention. But these are all the people that would have you vote no on Proposition C. Big Tobacco is the only one. Juul and R.J. Reynolds, the only one that wants you to vote. Only one wants you to vote yes. Vote no on Proposition C. The American Cancer Society says vote no on Proposition C. The American Heart Association says vote no on Proposition C. The American Lung Association says vote no on Proposition C. Kaiser Permanente says vote no on Proposition C. Bay Area Community Resources says vote no on Proposition C. Breathe California says vote no on Proposition C. African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council says vote no on Proposition C. The Bayview Hunters Point Real Estate Professionals say vote no on Proposition C. Americans for Non-Smokers' Rights say vote no on Proposition C. San Francisco Tobacco Free Coalition says vote no on Proposition C. Tobacco Awareness Project at UCSF School of Pharmacy says vote no on Proposition C. Booker T. Washington Community Center says vote no on Proposition C. Rafiki Coalition for Wellness says vote no on Proposition C. Samoan Community Development Center says vote no on Proposition C. San Francisco Asthma Task Force says vote no on Proposition C. RAB, the Restoration Advisory Board at the Hunters Point Naval Shipyard, says vote no on Proposition C. Mayor London Breed says vote no on Proposition C. We at San Francisco Weekly News TV encourage you to vote no on Proposition C. I cannot complete the list of people and organizations that say vote no on Proposition C. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Register to vote and then rock that vote. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.